In this video, we're going to do a little maintenance on our Speedball arm here. These have been out for over a year now, and some routine maintenance is helpful in order to keep this functioning correctly. So the balls themselves with the spring-loaded ends, these don't need much attention. There's really nothing that can go wrong. Just make sure that the spring still functions and that the cam lever has some resistance when you lock it down. Again, that's not a big deal. Basically, the clamp is the one thing that we're going to look at mostly. And this needs a little bit of grease occasionally. So if you find that the clamping pressure on the ball, maybe this used to lock down really, really tight, but now it's just a little bit loose. So when you really crank this down, you can still grab the balls and force them to move a little bit. That's typically when the threads need just a tiny bit of grease. And to do that, you can do one of two things. If you don't want to take this apart, you could just take a toothpick with some silicone grease and try and poke it into these threads here and then run this T-handle back and forth until you feel like that grease is really spread around. The better, more thorough thing to do is to take a 3mm Allen wrench and remove this shoulder screw. And this is there's a spring under here, so just be careful so you don't launch this thing across the room. Okay. Got our spring, our shoulder screw, our T-handle, and then this is a captive nut. And you can see here, there's like a lip in there. And so you actually have to rotate this with your fingers and the whole thing starts coming apart. Okay. So you can take a toothpick, and this is common. It's the silicone lubricant you can get at Napa Auto Parts. If you don't have this, chapstick will work as well, or other thicker types of grease. I would not use oil just because that will probably work its way out and drip and kind of cause a mess. So we're just going to put a tiny bit of the grease on the threads. And we're going to run this nut back down onto the threaded shaft here. And we can just move this back and forth a couple times just to distribute that grease. Okay, now we'll put our T-handle back on. Our spring, and this is a cone-shaped spring, so you want the wider part on the bottom there and the narrow part up top. Then we'll take our shoulder screw. And this is another great product to have around. This is Loctite Blue in stick form, so it's pretty thick. And you can just take either the screw itself or a toothpick and just dip it in there. And reinstall that. Using your 3mm Allen wrench. And you want to be careful, you don't want to blow out these threads, so just get that finger tight. And then it'll take about 24 hours for the Loctite Blue to fully cure, so where it's a bonded screw to the shaft inside. So now this feels much smoother than it did when we started. And we can reinstall our ball ends and really put a lot of force on this to keep those balls from moving at all.